Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Becca with House of Lenormand. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019. And I wanted to revisit a reading that I had done last month in July 19th. And it was right after Trump started his first racist rants. And I told you guys it was going to get ramped up. So in that reading, I wanted to know what the Republican Party was saying behind closed doors that we're not seeing in regards to, you know, Trump going absolutely bananas. And this is what we had got in that reading. Several readings later in that video, I believe towards the end of the video, I had asked what would happen to the base if they lose, if he were to lose the election. And we got the crossroads, the anchor, and the child. And I had said that there's going to be a split, and whatever remains is new. And it's also something small, because the child is something new or something small, something in the early stages. So after the split, the foundation of it, what remains with the anchor, what remains persistent, is small. It's made small. So back in that reading, I had said that there was going to be a split, because we have the crossroads and the coffin right in the center of the reading. So I told you guys that they were acknowledging that come election time, they're done. Like, they are pooping their pants because they are so royally, like, just done. And I said that there was a split in the party as well. Well, we're up to, I believe, 11 Republicans now in the House, here in the House, that have separated, that are not seeking re-election. We can expect that number to perhaps keep going up as we move closer and closer to the election. Texas is royally screwed for Republicans. I believe John Cornyn is up for re-election, and he's not very popular. So I'm wondering if I should read to see if Beto or Rourke has a chance to run against Cornyn. Because remember, you guys, he only lost to Ted Cruz by 3 points. Less than 3 points he lost to Ted Cruz. So Beto has a good chance in taking a Senate seat in Texas if he were to go run against Cornyn. So we should do that separately. But in this video, I wanted to address what we had talked about back in July 19th, when I had told you guys there's going to be a split and a separation. Well, the split and the separation is coming from people in the House. They're leaving. They're leaving the party. As these racist rants continue, there's a lot of inside arguing and fighting within the party itself between those that want to remain loyal and those that are seeing the end. And I believe that they're all seeing, come election time, they're freaking screwed. So that's why a lot of people are separating. They're leaving. They're not seeking re-election. I'm going to close this out here, and I'm going to go ahead and touch base with this again, because I believe that the Republicans that are not seeking re-election fall into 3 different categories. Those that oppose Trump, those whose demographics have, in the areas that they represent, the demographics have changed so drastically under Trump that they're going to be marginal. I mean, if they get through it, it'll be by this, like, the skin on their teeth, basically. And then the other ones, the third category that I would say would be those that are not Trump enough. You know what I mean? So that are seeking that are just not even going to go there. And I believe the news came out yesterday or the day before from a Republican senator in, I believe it was Nebraska. I forget his name, but he opposed Trump. And the RNC was like, well, get out, you know? So based on this reading that I did last month, I told you guys, I said there's going to be a split and what remains will be small with the child. And I think it was the last reading. I want to close this out. I wanted to review this for you guys again today, because we're seeing the split now. And this was last month that we did this. And this was to see what they were talking about in closed doors. And what they're talking about in closed doors is the need to leave. And there's a lot of fighting between those that want to stay and fight in the next election and those that know, I can't do this. This is just completely wrong. And they're leaving the House. If the Senate is showing up here, I'm not sure what card that would be. So let me close this out and we'll revisit this again with the new spread. Okay, everyone, welcome back. So this spread here, this double line of 5, was to find out what they're talking about behind closed doors about the recent announcement of people retiring. We got the birds. That's communication. That's speaking, talking, using your voice, meetings, negotiations, talking, using your voice to speak. So that's a good sign. That's affirmation that it picked up on the question. So the first row here, we have the dog, the fox, the anchor, the child, and the tree. And then on this bottom row here, we have the scythe, the birds, the rider, the ship, and the cross. So what we're seeing here is that the loyalties are being cut. People are cutting their losses and walking away here. This is a movement card. This is a movement card. This is about going somewhere, visiting, and this is going somewhere away far. Okay. So what we're seeing here is that they're talking about people that are cutting their losses and trying to find perhaps some sort of a strategy or a way around the situation, because they do recognize that what remains is going to be small, and there's a small growth. So it looks like they're recognizing and they're speaking about the possibility that once these people leave, they will be left in the minority, remaining something that is stuck and permanent, and something new or something small and very small growth. In order to grow the party, that's going to be quite difficult and quite burdened, because the tree is followed down here below by the cross. This is guilt and burden and punishment, some sort of retribution, and also, like I said, guilt, remorse. Down here, we're seeing that they're talking about the people that are leaving because they can no longer carry the burden for the party. So they're cutting their losses here. The loyalty has been split. It's been cut away. It's been cut short, and they're getting the news that people are leaving. They're looking for an exit strategy here with the fox knighting over to the ship. This is trying to find a sneaky way around stuff, trying to find an exit strategy, kind of like maneuvering around situations, and it's also quite fraudulent, and they realize that they're stuck with this burden. They're going to be stuck, and they're going to be stuck with the burden of what's going on, and they're going to have to find new people or small people, or perhaps this is freshmen, or a new opportunity to go somewhere else. We can see the conversations here with the birds knighting the child. There's new conversations, small conversations, perhaps new meetings, because the loyalties, there's a permanent cut in the party. There's permanent damage here. The permanent damage that Trump has done to the Republican Party. And that's why we're seeing the people leaving. But what they're talking about is how many more are going to leave, and how many more are going to cut their losses because they can no longer burden the shoulder. And what's left behind is going to be a minority, and growing out of this is going to prove quite difficult. If we look at the corners here, the dog with the cross, that's a troubled friend, a troubled loyalty that's cut, and growth with the corners here, growth that is cut, So the central cards here in the reading is the anchor and the writer. The writer is news, information, a delivery, or a visitor. So it looks like there's going to be some news or something that's being delivered to those that stay, perhaps. Or this could also be talking about picking up port and leaving, with these two here and this right here, because this is an action card. This talks about movement, going somewhere, visiting somewhere, delivering news. So perhaps we're going to be hearing here with the birds of more separations as time moves along, because this is they've chained themselves to a person that is putting them on the edge of a cliff, like the Republican Party is about to go off the edge of a cliff. And think about what that does. I'm going to link my old video, the one I did on July 19th, below, where I had said that there was, and I touched base on that in this reading right at the beginning, that there was going to be a separation, and they're looking at elections, and they're pooping their pants. But think about the cycle that chaining themselves to Trump does, okay? As the party becomes more and more and more extreme, because the base, the minority, the base right here with these two that they've chained themselves to, as that becomes more and more extreme, the vicious cycle that produces is that as time moves forward, the base shrinks, and they need to find, in order to survive, you're going to get uglier and uglier and uglier candidates that come out of that. So as the base shrinks, you can't win elections with less than a third of the country supporting you. It's just mathematically impossible, unless they gerrymander the crap out of the entire country, where less than a third of the population is, ruled by minority. It creates a vicious cycle where the base is pushing them off the cliff. This is a movement card here. So this is like they're on the precipice of a lot of pain and a lot of guilt and a lot of burden because of the loyalties that they've made to Trump and the extreme minority that is the base of the Republican Party. So what we're seeing here is that they're talking about the losses. They're talking about finding a way to get out of this, weasel out of this, how many more people are going to leave, that looking ahead, it's going to be serious trouble for them here and here, and they're not going to be able to grow the party. It's going to be made small. They're going to be left in the minority, and the base is going to be extremely small, not enough to carry them through, okay? Because remember, this is a movement card and this is a movement card. These are action cards in order to move forward. If this is talking about moving forward, we have the cross right after it. You can't move forward. It's going to be a seriously, seriously burdensome and difficult journey, and the growth is going to be quite difficult here as well. I'm going to go ahead and close this out because I think that's all that we can get out of this. Other than, the permanent damage that's being done to the party, people talking about everybody that's leaving, how they're going to grow their base because it's so small and they're not going to be able to grow it because of the extremism. I'm going to close this out, and I want to find out what party leadership. I know that Mitch McConnell doesn't give two F's about the House, because as long as he remains, he's just not going to let anything happen. Which is quite undemocratic, and that's not the way that the system is supposed to work. The House passes something, it goes to the Senate, and they choose to pass it or not. It's not everything goes to the Senate to die, so And the more he continues with that, the more extreme it's going to become. So I'm going to close this out and go ahead and touch base to see what the leadership thinks about all of these retirements. And I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, this reading here was to see what Mitch McConnell thinks about the wave of Republican retirements. I'm not sure if he's presenting here as the bear or as the dog or the bear. So we'll try to figure that out. On the first row here, we see the clouds, the whip, the garden, the dog, and the bear. And then on this next row here, we're seeing the cross, the scythe, the ship, the anchor, and the tower. So what this could be saying that is that the party itself, right here, central to the reading, the garden is a party. It's a congregation. It's a large group of people. So people are leaving the party. They're going away. So what we're seeing here is that there's big trouble and a lot of agitation, a lot of arguing, criticism within the party in regards to loyalty to a person in a position of authority here that's in an institution. So this could be the president. He perhaps is aware of all of the infighting and the big trouble that the party is in, and people are leaving. We're also seeing here that there's serious burdens and pain and guilt and regret that is being cut, a lot of danger, and there's something that's permanent, like some people that have reached port within an institution. So it looks like, if we start reading it this way, there's big trouble and a lot of burden and regret here with these two. There's chronic abuse and chronic danger going on here. This is people leaving the party and those that remain loyal to the president. The president is quite burdened here. He's a difficult person to deal with, and there's big trouble for this institution, whether that's the government or the courts or other institutions. I'm not seeing any money cards here. This could be talking about a very large bank. So in a difficult journey ahead here. So what we're seeing is that he is aware of the people that are leaving based on all this trouble that's going on with these four here. These are four very negative cards. The clouds is the most negative in the system, followed by the cross. So this is really bad. This is really bad. But once we get to here, everything that's over here is not quite bad. There's a permanence here in some sort of a loyalty and a permanent loyalty and a person in a position of authority. This is a really big party within an institution. So this could be talking about he's not quite concerned about people leaving because perhaps there will remain the Senate will remain the majority here, because the birds is a small meeting. The garden is a very large group of people. And the bear talks about a person in a position of authority, power, force. So perhaps he's not too concerned as long as he remains in power. All this can happen as long as he remains in power, because he will not allow anything to move forward. Things will remain stuck. It'll reach port here. It's not going to go anywhere. So perhaps he's not too concerned about what's going on in the House as long as they remain majority in the Senate. But if we knight the ship here, it knights to the bear. That could be a foreign power, or that could be talking about something foreign or moving authority, moving to a different authority. But I'm kind of thinking this is a foreign power here. And I've had a lot of viewers say that the scythe and the bear are symbols for Russia. So that could be a possibility, that he's not too concerned about what's going on back here, because perhaps they will be getting some sort of assistance from a foreign power. The dog is someone that is loyal, someone that is an advisor. It's also someone that helps you. So perhaps this could also be talking about the arrival of a foreign power that will assist. I'm not seeing the crossroads here, which would talk about a physical location which people would go to make a choice. So like at the elections, when people go to the election booth to vote, I'm not seeing that here. So I can't speak about the election because I'm not seeing that here. I'm not seeing any cards here, specifically the crossroads, that would signal a choice to be made in an upcoming election. All I'm seeing here is that people that are leaving the party because of all this huge amount of trouble back here, and Trump, if this is Trump, the person in a position of authority, that's here. If we knight the bear, he knights here to the ship. So that could be talking about when he leaves, when he goes away, but perhaps they're thinking that he doesn't leave and he stays in a position of authority within the government. But that's difficult. It's quite troublesome here. There's a chain of abuse here, a chain of aggression, a chain of aggression, abuse, criticism, a lot of infighting within the party as more people leave. But it doesn't seem like he's very concerned because he sees himself, if this is him, if he's presenting as the dog, he sees himself as being very, very, very secure, not going anywhere. So I don't know. But if we knight the scythe, it knights, if this is Mitch McConnell, he's in danger, because the scythe knights here to the dog. He's in danger. So, and the party is quite burdened and going through a lot of difficulties because it's got all these cards around it, and here's people leaving. So this could also be talking about a foreign country, but I'm reading this more as the party, people leaving the party, because it's quite burdened, and there's a very difficult road ahead. But it looks like he tries to stick it out, and he's not quite concerned with all this that's coming up. Like I said, I'm not seeing the elections here because I'm not seeing the crossroads. So he does realize that Trump is quite difficult. He realizes that the party is under a lot of duress. People are separating, people are fighting, people are leaving. But it looks like if he's presenting here as the dog, it looks like he stays, and his only loyalty, if this is not talking about Trump, it could also be talking about his only loyalty is power. He's only concerned about perhaps his own personal power within an institution. So I'm going to close this out here, and I'm going to read on Mitch McConnell's upcoming election. I had read on him months and months and months and months ago. I think when I first started my channel, and if I remember that reading correctly, it was the clouds, the letter, and the mice. If I asked if he was going to win his reelection, if the letter was the central card in that reading. So if the letter was being literal as meaning the actual ballot, there's something wrong with it because it had the clouds right before it. So there's something wrong with the ballot, and then the mice was right behind it, meaning it was being stolen. So I'm not sure if he's going to steal the election. I'm going to have to touch base on that again, and I'll be right back. Okay, everyone. This one was to see if Mitch McConnell will win his 2020 re-election. We have the Mountain, which is a negative card. We have the Fox, which is a negative card, but it can also be a neutral card if it's referring to his job, like your 9-to-5 job. And then we end here with the dog. This is a positive card. This is saying yes, but there's something real bad going on here, like some sort of trickery, manipulation, a con. This is not necessarily stealing. That would be the mice. But there's a block here as well. So perhaps he'll find a way to manipulate it to keep people from coming or block people from voting. But there's some fraud going on here in regards to him winning. And that reading that I had done months and months and months and months ago, I don't remember when I did it. Like I said, we got the clouds, the letter, and the mice. So if the letter was the actual ballot, there's something wrong with the ballots. Like they're stealing it. They're stealing ballots. They're losing ballots. They're misplacing. There's some shady stuff going on with his re-election. I'm going to ask if they will need to contest that election, because this is twice that I've gotten something shady going on with his re-election. And we all know that he is the master of gerrymandering and voter intimidation and blocking people from the polls. We don't need any more evidence of that because it's come straight out of his own mouth. But I'm going to go ahead and ask if they're going to recontest or contest that vote when it does come in, even though we're really, really early, and that's not till next year, I don't think. But let's go ahead and ask anyways. I'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Okay, so this one was to see if they were going to contest the vote. Like I said, this is still really, really early to go that far ahead, but let's see what we have. We have the key, which is one of the most positive cards. We have the fish, which is a positive card. And we have the stars, which is a very positive card as well. This is saying yes, yes, yes. There's something, if this is technology, there's something perhaps with the actual machines. This could be something that is plugged into the machines, or something that was paid for. Some sort of transaction, financial transaction, or something that was paid with these machines. I'm not sure if they're if the machines are bad, but the last two readings that I've done, the one that I just did previous to this one and the one I did months ago, was saying that there's something wrong with the ballots. So I don't know if they've manipulated the machines, because we got that on the previous reading to this one. We got the fox right in the middle. That's manipulation. And that's a con. So I'm not sure if they've paid to manipulate the machines, to make it hard for people to vote, stealing votes, purging people off the rolls. But it looks like they're going to have to contest it. Let me see if I know that we're really, really far out. So just to take a quick look to see what's going to happen in that election, and I'll be right back. Okay, everyone, so this is, I asked what was going to happen with Mitch McConnell's re-election campaign. Like I said, this is still quite early. We're months and months and months and months away. So, you know, just let's look at this now, and then we'll revisit a few months down the road. What we have here on the top line is the heart, the fish, the man. I'm assuming this is him, or I don't know if this is showing up as the president. I don't know. The bear and the child. And then on this bottom row here, we have the snake, the garden, the sun, the dog, and the tree. We're seeing here that he has a love of money and power, but his position of authority is being made small, or it's new. We're seeing here that there's a lot of lying within a community. So this could be him lying to his constituents and lying to the country. And we're seeing a very successful community here that's loyal to some sort of growth, or loyal to a legacy. We're seeing that there's lies about an affair. This could be fundraising. I'm not seeing the ship, so I can't tell you that he's getting money from overseas. So this is fundraising. Here's a successful man, a powerful friend, and the early stages of growth. If this is the newcomer, she's I mean, he may try to paint her as a betrayer, and try to say that, you know, he's the one that is the one that's a proponent of business and, you know, the communities and the economy and helping the workers, blah, 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 lip service. There's some sort of person here that's there's like a business partner here with the fish and the dog. This is fundraising, and this is a business partner, a very powerful friend that's helping him raise a lot of money for him to be successful. In the center of the reading here, we're seeing him, if this is showing up as him, if he's presenting as the man, he's very successful. And this could be his legacy, his tenure, what he's accomplished. But he's going to perhaps be facing some serious trouble within the community, within the constituency of where he's getting his money, the fundraising, how the money is coming into the state of Kentucky through a very powerful friend that's funding him. That may cause him some significant trouble. But then once we get to here, it all clears up. So I'm curious to see how this develops as time moves forward, because this is showing him as winning, whether by hook or by crook. I couldn't tell you, because the last two readings that we've done, it's showing something wrong with the ballots. And just the one that we just did now is showing something wrong with like the machines, or something on the internet. Perhaps he takes out a bunch of ads online. Perhaps something comes to light with his business deals online, like if he's got some sort of stocks or something online that has to do perhaps with a very powerful financier here and here. I couldn't tell you if that person is from overseas, if it's from a foreign country or a powerful country. I couldn't tell you. But that showed up in the last reading, the 3 that we did, the 3-card spread, and something wrong with the ballots months and months and months ago. So perhaps something will come up about his connections, his financial connections to something going on online. And if that's not it, then it's, or it could also be something wrong with the machines, the technology, how they're counting the ballots, and perhaps money that was paid somewhere, somehow. And then we did get that the vote was going to be contested, but he's going to be facing big trouble here within the community, but then it clears up. So let's see how that plays out. Like I said, we'll touch base on this again later on as you know, time moves on. This video is going to get quite long, so I'm not going to read on Amy, his opponent, Amy McGrath, I think is her name. The Marine pilot, I'm not going to read on her. Otherwise, this video is going to be like 45 minutes. We can do that later if you would like. So thank you so much for being with me here today. Make sure to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on my next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.